everything is energy, and nothing is at rest. The atoms that make us, and everything around us what they are constantly in flux. Humans are complex organisms made up of trillions of cells, each with their own structure and function. Most recent estimates put the number of cells at around 30 trillion. These cells work harmoniously to carry out all the basic functions necessary for humans to survive. But it's not just human cells inside your body. Scientists estimate that the number of bacterial cells in the human body likely exceeds the number of human cells.
In Biology of Belief, Dr. Bruce Lipton, PhD, outlines a new understanding of life based on his pioneering research with stem cells at Stanford University. In his book, Dr. Lipton proclaims that genes do not control biology and that cellular perceptions of the environment are the primary factor in biological processes.
The universal law, the law of vibration, posits that every atom, object, and living thing is in constant motion, vibrating at a specific frequency. The speed or rate at which something vibrates is referred to as its frequency, with the only difference between one object and another being the rate of its vibration. You can think of this frequency as vibrational energy.
Introducing the cell membrane. At just 7 nanometers wide, this phospholipid bilayer is covered in hundreds of thousands of different receptor proteins. These receptor proteins are each specialized to interpret different signals from the environment and then relay that information back into the cell. When a chemical messenger like a hormone or a neurotransmitter binds to a receptor protein, like a key going into a lock, the receptor protein activates corresponding effector proteins inside of the cell, initiating a cascade of chemical reactions within the cell.
Because for 22 years, I never believed in any of that spiritual mumbo-jumbo. Until one day, I found a law in the physical universe. It's a law in physics. You might want to write this down. It's called constructive interference. And it says that when two wavelengths of equal length meet, the size of the frequency doubles.
According to the law of vibration, even our own thoughts have their vibrational frequency. Our thoughts and feelings affect our bodily frequency, which in turn dictates how you may experience your life and the things that attract you. If what we desire doesn't have the same frequency as us, we will never be able to align with it. The idea behind this law is not only that we all have specific vibrational frequency, but also that we can learn to adjust our vibration if we're caught in a low vibrational experience or scenario.
Everything is energy, and that's all there is to it. Match the frequency of the reality you want, and you cannot help but get that reality. It can be no other way.
The more you attune to your own energy, the more you see how your vibes affect your entire experience.
Renowned researchers like Dr. Karen L. Fielding have proposed that human thoughts can be akin to electromagnetic frequencies. In her groundbreaking study, Fielding showcased how focused intent resonates at specific frequencies.
And so, a few years back, researchers working on various human cells and using these microcantilevers for slightly different purposes, detected unexpected signals. Here, the vibrations were just a little bit different from what the scientists hypothesized, eventually leading the scientists to propose that maybe, just maybe, this is actually because the cells themselves also vibrate, changing the overall results. And so in this new study, the scientists decided to focus specifically on discovering the frequency. First, they used a tiny microcantilever. Here this was approximately 50 micrometers by 270 nanometers across and made out of silicon and gold. And second, they decided to pick certain human cells used previously for a lot of different research. Here they used individual human breast cells, in this case designed for medical studies. And by placing these cells on the microcantilever and then varying their vibrations, they discovered that they do have a resonant frequency after all, with slightly different frequencies depending on the size of the cell. They actually analyzed frequencies between 1000 Hz and 1 MHz, but found specific anomalies between 10 and 30 kHz and then between 150 and 180 kHz, basically suggesting that those seem to be vibration frequencies of these very specific breast cells. And at least in theory, those smaller frequencies between 10 and 30 kHz can physically be heard by human ear.
You are brainwashed. Many of the beliefs that you hold at this very moment most likely didn't even come from you. They were given to you without you realizing. This is what TV, companies that want to sell to you, politicians and so on are doing all of the time. That what we are exposed to is very powerful. Our perception of something can be formed by just being exposed to certain ideas and being told that something is good, bad, or something else. And this is done through repetition by implanting images, messaging, and so on into the subconscious mind.
Many leading advertising agencies employ cognitive psychologists and neuroscientists. Why? Because they understand the significance of brainwave frequencies. Research from the Neural Advertising Association has shown that ads utilizing these advanced techniques can increase purchase intent by over 300%.
Now, the intellect is something most people really don't understand. We should, but we don't. We've got intellectual factors. We have these higher faculties. We are not taught to use them. We are taught to go by what we see, hear, smell, taste, and touch. We are trained, literally trained, as little kids at home and then in school to let the outside world control us.
Jesuits, for 400 years, they were boasting. People didn't understand. They say, give me a child until it's 7 and I will show you the man. They've been saying that for 400 years because they knew 7 years was the program period. And 95% of your life after that will be whatever that program is.
Your subconscious mind cannot differentiate between what's real and what's imagined. Whatever you impress, whether you imagine it, whether you hear it, read it, if you get emotionally involved in it, it's real.
You just watch. You watch your parents, you watch your siblings, and your community, because you have to learn how many 100,000 rules. Think about it. Just to be a functional member of a family and a functional member of a community, there are rules. Teach an infant these rules. I say, oh, you don't have to. First 7 years, they observe it and just download. Everything in your life that you like and it comes to you is because you have a program to support that. That's wonderful. That means that's great. It's going to come to you because that program is bringing it to you. But in contrast, this is the one that's important. Anything you work hard to accomplish, anything you struggle over to make it happen, anything you put a lot of effort in, I want this, I'm going to work like crazy, I'm going to get this. My first question is, why are you working so hard? And the answer is very simple. Anything you're struggling to try to accomplish, whether it's health or love, relationships, whatever it is, if you're struggling, it represents a simple fact. Your subconscious programming doesn't support that conclusion.
A belief is simply a thought you keep thinking. And to make this very simple, a belief is a thought you have thought over and over again and have emotionalized to such a point that it becomes rooted in your subconscious as a belief. Now, what's very interesting about our beliefs is they really do paint our world and create our reality. And this is why. Because you have what's called a reticular activation system. Now, a reticular activation system is essentially something that tries to reduce the workload of your conscious mind. Because in your subconscious mind, you have all of the patterns, all of the beliefs, but if you were to try and consciously juggle all of that at the same time, you would go crazy. You wouldn't be able to do it. And so your reticular activation system is always on the prowl, always looking out to see what is deemed as important for you to put your attention on. And guess what? It is your beliefs that play a big part on what your reticular activation system believes is important or not. So for example, if you have a belief about money that, money doesn't grow on trees and you never have enough of it, your reticular activation system will bring things into your attention throughout your day that reinforce that belief because it has been trained to see things that correspond with that. Because it's in the subconscious, it's deemed as important, so it will continue to look out for more and more evidence that that is the case. And so let's say you have a more negative outlook on life and a positive outlook starts to approach the club. The reticular activation system is going to look at the clipboard and go, nope, you're not on the list. I'm not putting you through to the conscious mind. But then some negative beliefs start coming through. The reticular activation system looks at the list and goes, oh wait, you are on the list, you're deemed as important, go right on through.
But what this means is that you can get energy from conversation. You can get energy from what I'm telling you right now. You can get energy from the people around you, or they can take energy away from you.
A molecule in the environment binds to a receptor protein. An effector protein gets activated, and the chemical release inside the cell makes its way back to our cell's nucleus, where the DNA is opened up, so a new protein can be made in the process of transcription.
The chemistry of the blood comes from the brain. What chemistry comes from the brain? I go, it's based on the picture held in our mind. The brain translates our pictures into complementary chemistry. So for example, if you open your eyes and you see someone you love, the brain translates love into wonderful, healthy chemistry. Dopamine for the great pleasure, oxytocin to bond with your lover, growth hormone. In contrast though, if I open my eyes and I see something that scares me, I say, no love chemistry is coming out of this brain. Fear chemistry comes out.
Essentially, your reticular activation system is continually looking for evidence to confirm your current worldview. Now, realize I didn't say continually looking for evidence about what is actually true. It is continually looking for evidence about what is true towards your current worldview. Not truth with a capital T, but what is true based on your current worldview determined by your beliefs and your subconscious. That means if your worldview is one that sees and paints everything negatively, it will find the evidence to essentially confirm that truth.
But we grew up with the idea, if you can't get it, forget it. And so 90-some% of the population have forgotten it. And we just let the dream go.
Now, this obviously will act as a self-perpetuating feedback loop if we don't do something about it. You'll have a belief that life is a struggle, for example, because you were exposed to this idea repeatedly, paired with a strong emotion. It was turned into a belief that your RAS then let in more of because it was deemed important, which provides more evidence of it being true. And now you have even more conviction that this is the case because your RAS, reticular activating system, is literally not allowing the evidence to the contrary into your attention. Remember, it's not letting it into the club, it's not letting it into the facility where your conscious mind is. Keep in mind that we never rise above the opinion of ourselves, which is why it is so crucial to restructure our beliefs and give ourselves beliefs and create beliefs for ourselves that are empowering instead of disempowering. Again, the RAS is not here to screw us over. It's actually an amazing tool. It is just working with what we give it.
95% of our life, this is a fact, comes from those programs in the subconscious. Every day, only about 5% of the life are you using conscious, which is creative. 5%.
So how do we go about changing our beliefs? Well, there are a few things that we can do, and I want you to keep in mind. The first thing is to give more importance or more attention to the vision than the physical circumstances, because your current physical circumstances are probably going to continually give you evidence to reinforce the negative beliefs that you currently have. The RAS, the reticular activating system, will then provide more evidence that it is the case, and again, we get into that perpetuating loop.
Subconscious mind learns in two fundamental ways naturally. Hypnosis, which is the first 7 years, and after age 7, how do you put new programs in? Repetition, practice. You want to drive a car, you didn't learn how by just getting in the seat and put the key in. You had to practice driving.
And that left its mark. That's trauma. What we're dealing with here is not like anxiety or depression, it's trauma. And the reason that people victimize themselves is because that's what they were taught to do. And why on earth does she continue to victimize herself? It's because her mind prefers the known to the unknown. And that makes sense, right? Like, why do people stay in abusive relationships? It's because they don't know what else is down there. They don't know if loneliness is next. They don't know if they're ever going to find someone down the road. And think about that for a second. If someone in an abusive relationship feels like they're a piece of shit, and if you really believe that you're a piece of shit, then why do you think that the grass would be greener on the other side? You believe that the grass is greener on the other side if you have faith in yourself as a human being to make it greener. But if you're in an abusive relationship, you don't think that you're a good person and you don't think that you're going to find someone better. You don't believe that you're worthy of someone better, so you're going to stay in the abusive relationship. And victimizing yourself is an abusive relationship with yourself.
Because there's a new phrase that's bandied about called fake it till you make it. Meaning, if you're not a happy person, I say, you want to be a happy person? Then repeat all the time, I'm happy, I'm happy. I say, well, you don't look happy or anything. You say, no, who am I talking to? By repetition, I'm talking to subconscious. Okay.
One thing I want you to recognize is that we get what we think about most of the time, and we also get what we feel about most of the time. Now, if we have certain beliefs that are more negatively primed, then if you just go unconscious all of the time, you're going to be essentially thinking about the things you don't want or negative things most of the time. But notice that I mentioned if you go unconscious all of the time, because that's when your subconscious is basically running you on autopilot. Essentially, if you vote more for the beliefs you wish to form on any given day, you are starting to create more of that. You are activating your reticular activating system to give you more evidence of that, which is giving you more convictions around whatever that belief is. However, if you allow the negative to just kind of go through its pattern as usual, you are voting for that. And a lot of people are giving 99% of their votes each and every single day to the negative, and then wondering why their life is incredibly negative in everything that's going on.
If subconscious gets, I am happy, and 95% of your life comes from that subconscious, there will be a point once the subconscious got, I am happy, you don't have to say it again.
Okay.
It'll be automatic.
Knowing this, how can one harness the power of constructive interference in their own life? By ensuring that your thoughts, intentions, and emotions are aligned. When they are in sync, they become a potent force, drawing to you what you desire with increased intensity. It's as if the universe operates on the same principles as the science of waves.
In order to manifest anything, we must first match the vibration of what it is we're looking for. You'll only attract to yourself energy that matches up with your energy. You'll only attract vibrations that match up with your vibration.
Ultimately, ignore everything else. Remember, where focus goes, energy flows. Things you give your attention to grow in your life. And so the more you entertain thoughts that don't serve you, the more you're going to get of those. The more you look at things in your physical to reinforce negative beliefs, the stronger those beliefs will become. And then through your reticular activating system, the more of that stuff's going to come into your physical. And so do your best to completely ignore anything that does not serve you in your mission to become who you want to become, or to believe what it is you want to believe.
Your life is a printout of your subconscious behavior. Oh, so you don't have to try and think about what happened. I just say, look at your life. The things you like that come into your life come in because you have a program that supports them.
The results you get are nothing but the manifestation of your own thinking. We become what we think about. That is the one point that every great leader has agreed on. They've disagreed in virtually every other idea, but that one, we become what we think about. Now let's clearly understand, nothing is created or destroyed. All science and all theology teach that. Nothing is created or destroyed. All the power there ever was or ever will be is omnipresent. All the ideas, it's all the knowledge there ever was or ever will be is omnipresent. It's all here. We didn't have to get it. We've already got it. What we got to do is tune into it.
But anything you struggle with, work hard at, put a lot of effort into making it happen, why you're working so hard, inevitably you have a program that doesn't support that conclusion and you're trying to override the program. So
the human vocal apparatus, with its intricate arrangement of the larynx, vocal cords, and resonating chambers, acts as a unique instrument through which the energy of speech is channeled. When we vocalize different letters and sounds, the intention behind the sound combines with the physical mechanics of our vocal apparatus, giving rise to a distinct toroidal pattern. As the toroidal fields created by our vocal expressions intersect with the vast cosmic field, a metamorphosis occurs, transmuting these energetic patterns into scalar waves, transcending the limitations of traditional electromagnetic waves.
So always try to focus on joy, love, and peace, as these vibrations help you feel healthier and happier.
Scalar waves operate outside the traditional boundaries of cause and effect, allowing for an immediate and profound impact on the fabric of existence. Through the emission of these scalar waves, our intentions and the vibrational essence of our words permeate the interconnected web of creation, influencing it instantaneously.
Remember, you are in infinite action. You are always sending out a signal. You are always recreating yourself in every moment. So how are you speaking to yourself? What are the thoughts you are having? These are going to go a long way to determining who you are going to be.
And when you study this and start to understand it, then you attract according to the vibration you're in, and you'll start to understand that. You control the vibration. Your brain is an electronic switching station. As you activate brain cells, you alter the vibration you're in. As you alter the vibration, you alter what you attract into your life.
What you want to do is wake up. As soon as you notice yourself thinking negatively and you become aware, you need to wake up, get into the moment, and bring the conscious mind into play. Look at this thought, try and detach yourself from it, and ask yourself, is this how I want to think? Do I really want to follow through with this thought? Is this who I am? Is this what I want to reinforce?
Repetition is a habit. It's making habit. So you got to do something religiously in a sense of repeating it to make it work.
Evolution is no longer a mindless game of chance based on random hereditary variants, but an interactive dance between organism and environment.
We already know about the law of resonance, in which the stronger, most stable frequency will overcome and entrain a weaker frequency to vibrate in its own frequency.
When you make a decision, it's got to be a committed decision. You say, I'm doing that. Now, the second you make a committed decision, everything starts to change. You begin to think and act like the person you want to become. You stop thinking down there, you're thinking up here now. You're thinking on a higher frequency. Want is the only prerequisite for making a decision.
Our job as humans is to hold on to the thoughts of what we want, make it absolutely clear in our minds what we want, and from that, we invoke one of the greatest laws in the universe, and that's the law of attraction. You become what you think about most, but you also attract what you think about most. Constantly generating negative thoughts and not knowing why life keeps manifesting negative situations is like jumping in the air and expecting to fly. Simply feel the body from within as one energy field. This practice will free vast amounts of consciousness that have been trapped in mind. The key is to stay in permanent connectedness with your inner body, to feel it at all times. This will rapidly deepen and transform your life. By keeping our attention on the body as much as possible, we'll be anchored in the now, won't lose ourselves in the external world, and won't lose ourselves in our minds. Thoughts and emotions, fears and desires may still be present, but they won't have the momentum to take us over.
Through imagination, we can zip ourselves onto a higher frequency. We just use our imagination and build a picture of the good we want. And then we hold that picture with our will. The will is what gives us the idea to focus, to concentrate.
As humans, we have free will, the ability to be the watcher and observe our thoughts, to become conscious, and by doing so, to enter the state of being. By observing our thinking and practicing inner body awareness and gratitude, we will free ourselves from pre-programmed mind reactions to the world around us.
A vast body of research now converges on this pivotal point. The universe isn't just a passive backdrop. It's an active participant, a grand web of connections, all responding to the frequencies we emit, especially when those frequencies are focused and intent-driven. Understanding the transformative journey from toroidal fields to scalar waves inspires us to approach our thoughts and words with mindfulness and intentionality.
That's why you're created in God's image. We've got to understand, what's that mean, we're created in God's image? We can do anything. We've got the faculties to do the job. Most of us are going by what we hear, see, smell, taste, touch. I got dogs at home that can hear, see, smell, taste, touch. That just puts you in touch with your outside world. But your lessons come from your inside world, not outside, inside. And you have to use your higher faculties: perception, the will, reason, imagination, memory, intuition.
The bottom line, when it comes to whether the law of vibration is real, is whether you're ready to take the reins and accept that things don't happen to you, but rather they happen because of you.